what we want to do is offer up a safe space, a space that is safe from a lot of the political and partisan bickering that has surrounded this new health law, and make sure that communities have the opportunity to think about informed choices and informed decisions on the future of the health of this nation. And that's why we had this open dialogue, bipartisan forum, in order to provide both opponents and supporters of the ACA with equal time and equal footing to make their arguments before a 9-judge panel of differing perspectives.
Minimum essential coverage is essential to the rest of the scheme. Only if you ensure that people take health insurance before they get sick, before they're on the way to the hospital in the ambulance, only if you ensure that you spread risk to people in time, before health crises befall them when we never know when they may or how bad they'll be. Healthcare is unique in the timing, frequency, and magnitude of the need of the consumer. Unless you have mandatory minimum coverage, the other two provisions won't work.
This would be the first ever of its kind tax, and that brings me back to the novelty of this legislation.
Nobody buys healthcare insurance to hang the beautiful insurance certificate on the wall of their living room. It is not a thing you purchase in and of itself. It is something you purchase solely for the ability to finance and prepare for the risk of your purchase of healthcare services themselves.
This isn't some academic, technical issue. These principles of federalism, the Commerce Clause, the limited powers of the federal government are exceedingly important to our freedom and our liberty and how we function as a country, and it was very important to the framers.
What we're talking about here is Congress exercising its powers on individuals, telling them that they, from birth until death, must buy insurance that many of them do not want to buy. Is there any other circumstance you're aware of where Congress has exercised a power like that to instruct individuals, not in commerce, to buy a product?
Well, Your Honor, it would give Congress a sweeping power to command people in their private lives to engage in private transactions.
Why can't we limit this to the extraordinary situation that petitioner has described, where there is a huge impact on the American economy, where there is clear interdependency, and where we know, predictably, that people will underestimate their need for health insurance, and there will be free rider problems, there will be adverse selection. These are very unique circumstances that involve a market in risk and insurance. So it's not so clear to me why the slope is so slippery.
Hasn't the Congress already forced all Americans to buy health insurance by requiring every wage earner to contribute to Medicare? What if I want my own private health insurance? What if I want a better health insurance? I still have to contribute to health care. For that matter, I still have to contribute to Social Security. So hasn't Congress already decided the issue that it can require Americans to purchase health insurance as long as they can get to 65?
Let me give you what if Congress, implicit in your argument is it's okay to prevent the insurance company from discriminating against people with pre-existing conditions, and that's essentially forcing transactions that insurance companies might otherwise decline to enter into. So let's restyle the law in anti-discrimination terms. You don't have to buy anything, but you can't discriminate against health insurance in your purchasing decisions. If you buy anything, first thing has to be health insurance. That's all regulating activity. If that satisfies your test, what is the game we're playing?
Bottom line, should we be considering whether we believe the general public was fooled into thinking this is something other than a tax, even though it knew all of these implications for individuals through payments to the IRS?
I want to refer the court to this very important brief submitted by the California Endowment, the leading supporter of health care for all in the state of California. And in there you'll see the exact limiting principle, that the problem here is created by a market in which there is an adverse selection and a free rider problem. Federalism works both ways. When Congress has seen that the laboratories of the state have proved an experiment has failed, it's entitled not to repeat their error. The experience of every state but Massachusetts shows that mandatory health care insurance provision cannot work without mandatory health insurance purchases. Allowed to be means tested, allowed to have exceptions for the poor, allowed to have an alternative that you don't have to buy it if you pay your taxes. You should uphold the law and reverse the decision below.